See, as a warrior, what other people are saying or what other people would think is not your business, because you are trying to survive. You are on survival mode. So if you're saying, if I wear socks I will look somehow, then you don't have your, that's not your, you don't have your priorities right. Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Chisom here. So one of you asked me how to avoid sickle cell crisis while flying. For context, I'm a new immigrant in Canada. My name is Chisom and I'm a lot of things, but for the sake of this video I would like to state that I currently live with sickle cell. And currently, because I'm waiting on my healing, whether spiritual or medical, everything is all God and it's gonna come through. So if you want to know more about me, just check the pinned comments. I have given a detailed description about me in the pinned comments. So I've categorized preparation into three different stages. This is how I typically do it. Personally, I will even give a disclaimer that everything I'm talking about here is based on what works for me. I am not your doctor. I can also, based on how your body is or how you have been dealing with sickle cell, you might have something that works for you that's different, right? So for me, I categorize my traveling stages into three. There's pre-flight, that's preparation before you fly. There's preparation for when you're in the flight, and then there's preparation for after your flight. So I'm going to take it one by one. So first, let's just start with the preparation you have to do before you fly, or the preparation that I do before I fly. So for me, I categorize flights into two: short flights and long flights. So short flights is like maybe from 0 to 4 hours or 5 hours, you know, and long flights is like when it's already a day, like 24 hours, or it's going into 2 days, there's too many stops here and there, 2 or 3 stops, all of that. That is a long flight for me. So if it's a short flight, I just ask myself that, oh, how am I feeling currently? Am I okay to travel, to take a short flight? First of all, if I have to take a short flight and it's necessary, or any flight at all, start preparation before, like maybe 2-3 weeks, 1 month beforehand. So meaning that if somebody tells you, oh, today that, oh, you have to travel tomorrow, personally I try to avoid last minute, oh, come, you have to travel today. No, because I know that I have to prepare ahead of a flight, whether it's short or long. So if I know that my body is not feeling well, the context here is that, oh, I've been given ample time to prepare for my flight, whether short or long, I start to like eat very clean. Naturally, or on a normal day, I eat clean to a good extent, meaning that I stay away from, and I actually listed some things that I stay away from. I don't eat anything that contains milk. I don't eat anything that contains sugar. You know, usually on a normal day I will just indulge in snacks, like maybe on a monthly basis. But if I know I'm going to travel, no snacks is going to touch my mouth. No biscuit, no cookies, no cake, nothing sugary, nothing snacks, nothing milk, nothing. I will just be eating my rice, my beans, my vegetable soup, my semo, like, you know, good actual food. I even stay away from pasta, to be honest. So that's what I do. I now start eating healthy. Now if I was saying that I'm not feeling too well, or you know, like, you know, you gauge your body, you know when this kind of way my body is feeling is something that I can stay at home and try to work on it. And there's how you feel that you're like, this is a hospital thing. So if it's a hospital thing, I just go to the hospital and say, oh, I'm actually preparing to travel in a few weeks and I don't really feel good, though. Please check me out. Then doctor can do his thing, give me malaria. I still give you malaria. If it's malaria, I get injected, or they give me drugs or whatever advice that the doctor gives. But I would still eat healthy, right? Secondly, I start from then to reduce stress. Mind you, like I said, I've been given ample time to prepare for my flight, right? So from that 3 weeks to my flight, I've started reducing stress. You know, for me, I don't stress physically, meaning that I would be, because luckily for me, I work remotely, so I don't even need to go out. So I don't maybe go out to go to the market, or I don't cook too much, or I don't, like, I just restrict myself to just staying in my room. I wake up, bathe, brush teeth, stay on my bed, eat, watch movies, just anything that will stress me. I just try to reduce it the best way I know how, right? That's another thing that I do. Now this applies to both short and long flights, by the way. Then clothing, pre-flight, right? Obviously you have to prepare the kind of clothes that you're going to wear. right? Me, I would say if it's a short flight, right? If it's a short flight, prepare to wear at least 2 sweatshirts, right? A sweatpants, right? A pair of socks and a pair of gloves. Now, see, as a warrior, what other people are saying or what other people would think is not your business, because you are trying to survive. You are on survival mode. So if you're saying, if I wear socks I will look somehow, then you don't have your, that's not your, you don't have your priorities right. So at least 2 sweaters, a sweatpants, a pair of socks and a pair of gloves for a short flight, and you are good to go. Now also, see, be a fish. If you don't used to drink so much water, before, as you're preparing to fly, whether short or long, start drinking water, a lot of water. As warriors, we need to stay hydrated. When other people are drinking 1 liter of water a day, personally I try to drink up to 4.5 liters of water a day. So stay hydrated, because we need water, and you know why we need water. It also reduces crisis, right? It reduces the frequency of crisis. I don't need to go into the technicalities, but if you want that, I can do a separate video on that. So what next? Now we are still on pre-flight. Okay, so now if it's a long flight, every other thing I've said applies to long and short flights. But in terms of what you should wear, if it's a long flight, after carrying your 2 sweatshirts, carry a duvet. Yes, on my trip to Canada, I had a duvet in my carry-on bag. I had a duvet. I had 2 pairs of socks, not a pair now like what I mentioned for a short flight. 2 pairs of socks. I wore 2 pairs of socks, and I still had more pairs in my bag in case it got cold, right? A pair of gloves, of course. You can even, I think I even had more than a pair of gloves, to be honest. I think I had like 2 or 3 in my carry-on bag. Then a beanie hat, because of course, for me, right, it's easy for me to get cold through my head and through my feet. So I try as much as my hand too. I try as much as possible to protect those places so I don't feel cold. You see, that duvet is very important. Then the sweatshirt you're wearing, every time wearing a sweatshirt, you can also carry an extra one. It needs to be heavy. When I say sweatshirt, I don't mean all these light sweatshirts with hoodie. It has to be thick, it has to be heavy. For context, when I was traveling, because Nigeria to Canada is a long flight, right? I got a cardigan knitted for me. If you've seen that cardigan, a very thick, heavy wool, made of wool. That's what I wore, and I was wearing a sweatshirt inside already, and I had that wool cardigan with me. So I would definitely recommend getting a wool cardigan knitted for you. If you want that, I can give you contact to the person that knitted my own. So that is pre-flight, right? You've checked, if you're feeling okay, if you're good to go and everything. You've been eating well beforehand, you've been drinking water beforehand, and you have prepared the things that you should wear beforehand. Now, during the flight, I think maybe this even falls under pre-flight, because when you're booking your flight, I would recommend, especially if it's a long flight, in fact you can do it for both. If you have money, right, if you can afford the extra cost, apply for wheelchair service. Yes, because you see all that queuing, carrying bag from one place to another at the airport before you finally board. For me, it takes a toll on me after, and that's just the truth. Unless if it's a short flight now and I'm just carrying on, I know I don't have problem. But when it's a long flight and you're carrying like two big bags, one bag carry on, all those things, I think it's definitely better to apply for a wheelchair service. So what that means is that when all those things are going on, all those, like, when you're in an airport, sometimes to get from point A to B is really far. So they will give you a wheelchair and you have somebody actually riding, like pushing you, especially if you're going alone, right? You have people pushing, you have people that will actually take extra care of you because you have applied for a wheelchair. People that will even help you to do your ticket, board your flight. They will help you while you just sit down and wait. Yeah, so that's what I typically do. Like on this Canada flight, we applied for a wheelchair, because it was a very long distance and the waka will be too plenty and the walk will be too plenty and our load was plenty. But with a short flight, I don't need wheelchair, especially if you're carrying small, maybe just a carrier. But if you're carrying plenty things, please do apply for a wheelchair. Then okay, so another thing you should do during the flight is I think everything also falls under pre-flight. If you can, whatever load you're carrying, make it a roll-on. Like, don't buy bags that you have to carry on your shoulder, or you have to carry, you understand? Just get traveling bags that have tires, so it's even easier for you to roll, right? Because even after your flight and when you're going to where you need to go, you have to roll your bag. So it's advisable that if you can afford it, get bags that actually like have tires, so you just drag them rather than carry them on your back, because that will also, at least that takes a toll on me as well. Then what next? When you're on the flight, right now, you've been taking water, all those things on the flight. When you're before your flight, when you're on the flight, don't stop. Keep asking for water, be asking for water, be asking for water, be drinking water. There's toilet there, so it's not, you don't have any reason not to drink water. Be asking the flight attendants for water. Whether it's short flight, whether it's long flight, please stay hydrated. And also, if you're in a flight that they are going to give you food, when you are preparing for your flight, you have been eating healthy. The flight is not that where you're not gonna eat that the cake they will give you, or the gbogbo, the sugary things. No. If they give you rice, you can eat rice. If they give you beans, you can eat beans. But when they start coming to dessert, wine, and juice, all those things, do not, stay away. That's what I do. I stay away. I don't take anything, during my flights. And of course, during my flights, my meds are with me. I take my meds in the flight. As a matter of fact, your drugs should always be with you. To be honest, your painkillers, your vitamins, whatever should be with you, right? For me, I actually doubled down on my vitamins, my vitamin B, my folic acid, painkillers as well. I doubled down on all of them, right? And this is also based on the advice I got from my doctor, because we're not just taking things, just drinking. No, your doctor also has to advise you accordingly. But for me, that was what I did during the flight, right? Also, you can get a rub, because the flight is cold. There is no doubt about it. In the flight, you can be rubbing rub to stay heated, even if after everything you're wearing you're still cold. Just be rubbing the rub to stay heated. Rub your hand, rub your chest, rub your toes, rub everywhere that you feel like it's getting cold. Yes, get rub and rub. So now that covers it for during the flight, right? Now after flight, now for example, let's say you are going, maybe because your flight can be a work flight or something. If your flight is for the 28th, maybe you have a conference and your conference is for the 29th. It is advisable that your flight shouldn't be something that lands you there on the 29th. If it's possible, get there a day or two before. Why? Because after that flight, you will need ample rest. Going from flight, to conference, to activities, to all of that, personally, I would avoid it. So after your flight, prioritize rest. Take a warm shower. In fact, if the first thing you can do is take a warm shower, I recommend take a warm shower. Let heat enter your body, because that airplane can be cold. So take a warm shower, let heat enter. Then prioritize rest. Eat, right? Eat, because the plane, they don't give food that will fill your tummy, unless you want to fill it up with all those ijekuje that they give. So fill your tummy with eat good food. When I say eat, I don't mean go and start eating jekuje. Eat normal, healthy beans, rice, swallow, vegetable, and fruits, all of that. Eat that. Then prioritize wherever you're staying or you're going to, the temperature should be warm. Don't go from airplane to a cold room. Make sure the temperature you're going to is warm. If it's a hotel, turn off the AC. Just make everywhere warm. And prioritize rest. Take your pain, your medicine, right? And I think that's pretty much it. And the most important part of it is, especially if you're a Christian, do not forget God, because if you watched the video where I said where I talked about moving to Canada, honestly, God helped me a lot. If you watch my vlog where we traveled to Zanzibar for a vacation, God came through. Like, I was just, speaking his words into my body, like, be still and know that I am God. I was telling my body, be still and know that God is with you in this moment. So do all of that, pray, and yeah, I think you should be good to go. Even if you end up getting a crisis like some days after, it will be so minimal. Like when a normal person goes through stress, their body feels it, talk less of you. Do you understand? So but doing all these things will make it so minimal and very bearable if at all you get a crisis. And sometimes you won't. For me, when I came to Canada, I did not, like, first 1 month, 2 months, I didn't experience any pains, nothing, right? It was when I now started like doing some activities and everything, then all my period, that I'll just experience little crisis here and there. So you guys, I think that's pretty much it. This video is already long. See, I'm more than happy, when, even if you just one person that requests a video on how to deal with sickle cell, I'm going to film it for you. And it was one person that requested this video, and I hope that this video helps you. And if you're not a warrior and you're watching this video, please, if you know someone as a warrior, if maybe your child is a warrior, try and take this, do this. What is very important is also what you eat is like very important. Like, I can't even underestimate it. What you take into your body as a warrior is very key. So I will see you in my next video. Bye.